Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to kind of show y'all this this new little build we're working on. Well, it's not new, but it's going to be a new video that I'm going to be putting on for y'all to see. This is Richard's 97. It's a 97, right, Richard?
Yeah.
It's a 97 GST front wheel drive turbo Eclipse. It's got the 4G63 in it, and we've had it here for a while. And he's probably built this car about, I think, twice, and then he's just decided to well, once it's done, he kind of decides that it's not enough, so we end up tearing it apart and making it bigger and better than it was before. But basically, what we're doing to it is we're adding a holset turbo, holset WH1C, and we've put in some, or we're in the process right now putting in some urethane mounts, and just kind of getting it all back together and buttoned up. And it's kind of about halfway through the build, but I figured it'd still be nice for y'all to see it. We dropped the transmission on it, and we put a what was it, a stage 2? Stage 2 racing clutch with a Fidanza, or however you want to say it, 7-pound lightweight aluminum flywheel. And it's also got the front mount intercooler, blow-off valve, or aftermarket blow-off valve. It's got the Evo 3 intake manifold with is it 262, 272 cams? It's running 262, 272 cams from a 1-gen, and we sent the intake cam to the machine shop to get tapped and drilled and threaded for to accept the cam angle sensor that runs on the side of the intake side of the head for the crank signal, or for the cam signal. And so we modified that and made it work. We kind of just did it off of just to see if it would work, and it actually did. And so we decided to just leave them there. So it's running 1-gen cams with a Hyundai valve cover. It's just a stock 7-bolt, the ARP head studs and metal head gasket, and it's got some other minor mods and stuff on the inside. And right now we were putting in an axle on this side, but it turned out that we had the wrong axle, so we got one coming from the parts store. Should be here tomorrow. And right now what we're doing, so I'll bring it over here. And we're putting in the urethane mounts and the inserts. And the one that he had on his car, as you can see, was like in really bad shape. So we just got this one ordered, and it came in, and we're fixing to put that in there. And then we're going to put the inserts in it after it's already put on the car, or probably before. I'm not sure. I don't remember how I did it on mine. But we're going to be doing that, and I'll kind of just take you through the process of how we do that. And we got another mount outside that's burning right now, and we're getting all the rubber and all that off of it, and we're going to cut the metal ring and then push the new insert in, and we'll show you how to do that. So just kind of follow along, and we'll show you what we get done. Okay, so to replace this front lower motor mount, there's two 14mm bolts in this hole, in these each one of these holes right here. And you can grab your wrench, or your ratchet, or I got this little snap-on tool here. Stick it in there. And it basically just comes off like that. And I'm trying to keep these bolts in here, because if not, they'll fall out and they'll go down into there, and then they'll just be lost forever and not always. So you basically take that, and if you kind of hold it in place, the other one just goes right back on it. And you just kind of put it sideways a little bit. And that way, like I said, so the bolts don't go in there, fall into the actual subframe. And you can just kind of start one. Alright, that one started. And then this one started. And that's basically it. Now it's changed out, and what's going to happen is these little inserts that we got from Energy Suspension, they'll kind of just fill in these spots on the top and the bottom. And then once the mount comes in on the side, that bracket that's on the side of the block, when you tighten it up, it puts nice good pressure on it. And it just stops the motor from kind of moving around. But a lot of people say that it's really not any, the front and back one really aren't any good. And I kind of agree with them. They really don't serve too much of a purpose, but you know, it's in the kit, so why not use it? So once I get this set up under the car, I'll show you what I'm doing on the bottom, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so what Richard's doing here, as you can see, he's got that propane torch, and he's heating up that rubber on the inside of that mount. And a lot of people have different ways of doing them. Sometimes they'll stick a drill in there, and it's really neat. They'll kind of just use the drill and go all the way around until it separates the rubber from the metal ring, and then it just pops out. Other people use sawzalls and just kind of go around it, sawzalling it. We just burn it because just to burn something really. But once we get all that rubber burnt out of it and it cools off, we'll take it inside, and then we'll use just a really good sawzall, and we'll cut into the metal ring. And once we pop the metal ring out, then we'll press the new bushing in. So once we get this piece burnt out, we'll come back and show you how to press those bushings from energy suspension into a motor mount for a turbo eclipse. Okay, so we burned out, excuse me, that's my sheep over there dying. We burned out the rest of the rubber, and as you can see, and if you look, you can kind of see like a little lip right here. That's the ring that we have to cut out, and we're going to cut it out with the sawzall, and then we're going to add these pieces in there. And you know, I'm just going to put some WD-40 on it, this stuff right here, and just kind of push it in. And then once both sides are in, then I'll press this little collar, and then the collar just kind of comes out. See right there. So there's that, and then here are those other inserts that I was talking about. These are for the front. These don't get pressed in, they just kind of coincide with the factory mount. So like they said, they don't really do too much, but it's still better to have them in there if you got them. So fixing to show y'all the process on how we cut this ring out, and then how we press in that bushing. No, I think it cut it. Alright, flip it over. Some more. Alright, so let's show him Richard. See, basically we just kind of cut into, you gotta be a little careful because you don't want to get too much into the aluminum. But we got 2 cuts on there, and we're gonna get the we're just gonna get like a hammer and a chisel or something, try to chisel it out. So we'll show you what it looks like once that ring's out. Alright, so you can see, like, we're see if I can get this stupid thing to focus. You can see we're starting to peel that metal ring up, and we're just using the screwdriver with this hammer, and we're just gonna keep pushing on it until it splits open, and then we'll get the ring out. Alright, so there it is. We got it slid out, and this is the ring we were hitting on a minute ago. This kind of just lines the inside of this mount, and you have to get that piece out so the other one will press in. So we're going to clean up this inside, and then we're going to start pressing that other urethane mount in there, and we'll show you how we do that. Alright, so we're just going to spray like a little bit of liquid wrench in there, and get one of those. We're going to put some around the edge of this one. Just that one for now. And then basically we're just going to grab this little guy. And it's got like these little flat pieces here. Those probably just need to go towards the end of that. And honestly, I really don't know if it matters on this. And we're just going to try to bang it in.
You gonna pull it back out?
All right, and there it is pushed in. He just basically hit it with the hammer, and that's all into one side right there. And Rich is gonna put some liquid wrench, or you can use WD-40 or whatever. You can even use grease. It doesn't matter. Just anything that'll help it slide in. And hopefully this side will go in just as easy as the other side did. Alright, so basically that's how he did the first side, and let's see if we can get that collar over here. Or do you have it, Richard? Oh, you got the collar? Okay. I'm going to put some oil on the collar. And if you can't get it all the way in just by hand, just use a hammer. And it just taps in. And that's it. That's basically how you do your urethane mounts. So it's really not that hard. And we're fixing to install it on the car. Now getting it on the car is a lot different. When I did it on mine, it was really hard to squeeze it into that mounting place on the side of the car. I don't know how it's going to be with this one. We just have to see. And we'll just kind of go from there. Okay, so that's where the mount's gonna have to go in. And let me get a light over here. Alright, so you can see that's where the mounting holes are on the side. And then right here in this little slot, that's where we're gonna have to try and fit the mount in. Like I said, sometimes it's really easy, sometimes it's really hard. You don't have much room for wiggling this thing around, but we'll see if we can manage. Alright guys, let me show you what we did. We tried to do it one way, which was first putting the mount in itself, and we put just a bunch of PB blaster on it, and then we hit it with the hammer that we got right there, and it went in fine, but it wouldn't line up with the mounts over here. So we actually had to take it back out and then lift the motor up and put the mount on the motor first, get it all bolted down, then let the jack down, and then once this urethane mount started coming down, we kind of hit it with the hammer and got it to go in a little further. And then you can see the bolt, what's right here, and that's what we're trying to get in. We already got it in the first side, but now we're gonna have to pick up on the mount from the back side a little bit to line up the rest of the bolts so it'll go in and thread in through the chassis. And once it's done, it'll be ready to go, and then I'll show y'all how to put in the bottom cross member. Okay, so we got the mount in, and we were having like a really hard time trying to get this bolt right here to go through the hole, this hole, then through the mount, and then into the frame of the car, until we came down here. And I didn't even do this on mine, but you see right here, the bolt comes through this welded nut. And what we did is, because we didn't know if we needed to pull on it or pry or go up and down, so I looked through that hole and I kind of saw how off the hole in the mount was from the hole on the chassis, which is right here. And then Richard grabbed a pry bar, started prying on the mount, and I kept looking through the hole. And then when I finally saw that the mount and the hole on the chassis were lined up, I quickly got up and I went around to the other side and I hit it with the hammer just a few times, and then this little pointed part of the bolt right here, that little guy, kind of peeked through, and then that's when I knew we were good. And then we went ahead and just tightened it up. So if you're ever doing this and you're struggling and you can at least get the bolt halfway through there, just look through that hole into the inside, and then you'll be able to see where it is that which way you need to pry it to get the rest of it in. So now I'm fixing to show y'all how to put in the lower mount. Okay, so you see these two holes right here? They're literally right in front of this, or behind the intercooler. You got one here, and then one here. And then you got this, the little cross member piece. And it's got the same matching holes, and it's got these little bushings. These little guys right here. And they just split apart. Like that. And then on the back side, you got two bolt holes, and then you got two bolts right there, and right there, And you got this little weird looking metal piece, and it's got about 5 different 14 millimeter bolts that go in it. So, and then the mount. Alright, so I got the mount up, or the cross member I guess you could say. And I got the 2 17 millimeter bolts here. And then an extremely crazy long bolt up here for the mount, which we'll probably just cut some of that off. And then it goes to the back. You got your little weird looking plate right here. And you got, let's see, one 14 millimeter there, one here, and one there, 2 over there, and then one there, and one here. So before I get out from under here, I'm going to take this 3-inch downpipe off. Since you won't be using it, we're actually going to have to hack it up. Or if not, we might just use my exhaust. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But this has to come off because this is for a 16G or DSM flanged turbo, and we're going with holset. Okay, so we got the all the bell housing bolts tightened up. We got the shift linkages put on. Got the throttle body elbow with the intercooler coupler back on it, and the piping. The lower mounts all done. All the plugs that we disconnected to take the transmission off are already all back on. We're gonna have to make a parts run. We need to get some little pins for the end of the shift linkages, and we gotta find a little nut to fit the clamp for the compressor housing on the turbo. And tomorrow the axle should be in, and he needs to buy a few things like some gear oil for the transmission, maybe some brake fluid and clutch fluid if we don't got it. And we still gotta bleed the clutch, and then I'm gonna have to take the downpipe off of my car and then transfer it over to his, and we might have to do a little bit of welding and exhaust on to connect his aftermarket exhaust to the downpipe that I have on my car. But besides that, she's coming along good.